Welcome back, everybody, to the Energy Tips for Patreons and Heart Warriors for week 49. That is the 1st till the 7th of December. Can you believe it? Welcome back, everybody. Let's look at the energies of this coming week here together. My name is Jona Bryndis, and I'm airing back from Florida. Yes, it's warmer here. I hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving weekend, those of you who live in the United States. Those of you elsewhere, you may have had some kind of gathering, some kind of beautiful relationships this last weekend. It was a really good weekend here for engaging in more intimacy and connecting deeper with others. So I hope you had some good experiences. Those of you who are in the Grace Integrity Marathon with us, learning what it means to embody gracefulness, guys, stay tuned, heads up here, you guys are troopers. This first day yesterday was all about pushing through our inner resistances and recognizing how hard it is for us to actually unconditionally love ourselves. If you haven't had the chance yet, check out the Truth Talk from this morning about high vibe relationships. I talk a lot about our inner relationship there. So what is going on here in the collective, guys? There's a lot of chaos. It's overwhelming. And this isn't going to change, as I mentioned on several occasions. But we are changing. And this is the part here really that helps us to recontextualize all the craziness around us. It's all coming down to us being able to integrate our own needs and desires, our wants, and how to regulate all this, guys. So anything in the direction of political correctness, and some of you may have had a big portion of that here this weekend, because what happens when we are with family is that we tap directly into this split and into this, how can I call this? Divisiveness that is in our collective right now. So trying to be politically correct, guys, is no longer possible. It's not even integrous. We need a new approach, and this is just now starting to show in our collective. This will take a little more time. All right, we need to learn how to implement this, how to speak our truth, but at the same time staying kind and not pissing off other people. All right, so the implementation of that is the part here that we are learning as energetically sensitives, basically in sort of a preview, okay? Because for us it's a lot harder to be untruthful to ourselves and others, and so all the issues that you are running into right now are things that you're going to see here replicated in our collective this whole entire next year. So right now it's a lot about the freedom of speech, the freedom to express your thoughts, your desires, and your wants. And I want you to feel encouraged, because the energy here in this next week is extremely supportive for you. That is, so for everyone who can go into this peace or this place within themselves, this gracefulness piece, where you recognize that, on one hand, it's very important that you express your needs or your opinions, your preferences. But on the other hand, if it is not really contributing to say the greater good for all, be it a family gathering or your relationship or at the workplace, just for the sake of expressing your opinion and so forth, is it really worth it? So it's this middle ground, it's this harmonizing that we need to tune into. Energetically or energy center wise, we are now dealing with this third and fourth chakra barrier. This is a collective barrier. This has to do with this harmonizing of our 3D-ness, okay, with our higher soul self-awareness. And in practical terms, this means that we have to find ways how we can live a high vibratory life, but without judging others, without making others wrong. But at the same time, also how to be steadfast and to be able and willing to have the courage to claim this right, okay, to live our life according to our own inner integrity, all right? And this third, fourth chakra barrier, okay, this I often refer to it as the heart mind, is something that most of you are consciously working on or have been working on for years already. So you will feel supported through this. You'll feel it within yourself. So some of the ways this can express for you here in this next week is a sort of feeling zoomed back into your old patterns, your old thinkingness pattern, the back and forth, the push and pull internally between your ego and your higher self. All right, but you guys already have the tools on how to realign yourself, how to clear things through your heart, how to tune back into this. So don't be afraid of this. Of course, externally, this can be quite explosive. So, just try to really harmonize. This, I think, is the best way to get through this week. Yeah, what is producing more harmony here? I don't need to add to the division. I don't need to add to the polarity. I don't need to add to, these beliefs that are clashing and all these populistic ideas of how things are supposed to be. All I need is to know who I am, what I want, and where I'm going with this. All right. Physically, guys, this high vibe body awareness that we've covered here in these last two truth talks about high vibe nutrition is something that I strongly, strongly recommend all of you to integrate now. Not just so that your physical immune system and so forth is stronger and that you can withstand some of the things that are coming in through the daily stress, okay, of being in this human body. Not only to tune into your own inner self-healing abilities and see, where your attitude towards your body is, blocking you, but also really to understand that this whole entire transformation process that we're all going through in the course of our self-growth and self-mastery, all right, that this requires you to physically adapt to this. There's a transformation, a restructuring that happens within us on this physical level as well. And therefore, some people say they have 7-year cycles, some people have 10-year cycles, but once in a while, we have to embrace new routines, okay? As we grow, all right, we need to grow physically as well. And if we don't make sure that our container here, this vehicle, this 3D body, can hold all these new energies, so these higher vibratory energies, well, what happens with people typically is that they gain weight. They then start to literally grow physically. And in order to prevent all this from happening and this cascade that comes with it, not feeling pretty enough, not feeling healthy enough, and so forth, I want to really encourage you this week to be creative, all right? To really ask yourself what kind of exercise routines are most natural for you. I've recognized over the years that one of the things that I literally am designed for is walking and running. I used to be a marathon runner, and I don't do this anymore because now at my age, it's showing sort of issues with the knees and so forth, but I'm still walking. I'm walking like 2-3 hours a day. And that is the most natural way for me to integrate motion, to keep my physical in this sort of aerobic and cardiovascular health. All right. But this doesn't mean that this is good for you. You need to find out what that could be. Like integrating any kind of new or natural motions such as dancing or like even singing or things that have to do with you sort of manually interacting with other things. So any kind of those motions that come to you naturally are the easiest to integrate. So when you're trying to find new routines, then look for those first and then build upon them so that it doesn't become like a chore, like a discipline. You want to develop new disciplines, but they have to come to you naturally. If there's too much resistance, it'd be too difficult for you to implement them. At the start of all of this, working with your body more, connecting more with your body, needs to be this renewed commitment with yourself, guys. I really want you to talk to your bodies. I want you to thank your bodies for having been there for you, for having gone through all the experiences in your life with you and for serving you well. I want you to develop a more respectful attitude towards your body, whether it's medication that you have to take or maybe surgical procedures. I want you to talk to your body. I want you to ask your body for permission to do certain things. I want you to ask your body before you eat something if this feels like it's the right thing. Okay, I want you to commune with your body more. Harmonizing and communing are those hallmarks of gracefulness, and then ultimately those then lead to the expression of self-love in the physical sense, self-care. Emotionally, this week can be a little tricky. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but there's a lot of trust issues in the air. There's this fear of betrayal, maybe an impulse to withhold, going into an old frustration. Some of you have been having disappointments here in these last couple of weeks already. So the part here that needs to shift emotionally is is the negativity that it can drive us into. It's like a pit, it has this huge gravity. It's so easy to find the negative in everything. So the new routine or the new discipline emotionally that you could implement here this week is to really try to find the positive, but not the fake positivity, all right? Not this trying to talk yourself into, oh, everything is fine. Not that one. The one where you actually look at things with a kind eye and you try to really appreciate, the good things that you see about some of the experiences that you are having with others and even your own emotions. Look at yourself with a kind eye. Be kind to yourself and understand that now some things you just can't control. So don't turn this into negativity, because negativity is a low vibratory energy field that comes with a downward spiral. But turn this into, like recognizing the lessons that can be learned or the things that you can experience in that way. For instance, many of us, and you guys are familiar with this, we learn how not to be through what we observe with others or through what hurts us. So this golden rule, you don't want to do to others what you don't want to have done to yourself. Apply this to yourself as well. Just think about your critical inner voice, how it talks to you. This leads me to the more mental aspects here. How does your critical inner voice talk to you? Would you ever allow anybody to talk to you in this way as you are talking to yourself? This is the part here where the truth talk comes in, guys. This inner relationship. Okay, we need to really understand that whatever we think of ourselves, however we judge ourselves or others, it comes down to really engaging and living in a harmonious and graceful relationship with ourselves. All right, and if we have rigid beliefs and righteousness and judgments about everything, then those become like self-imposed restrictions. They literally then don't allow us, these rigid beliefs, they don't allow us to grow. say, as an example, judgments about emotions, for instance, that it's not okay to feel angry, or that any kind of emotional release, is bad. It's not bad, guys. We still are 3D beings. We have all these needs. We have needs in regards to connectedness, in regards to wanting to feel safe, in regards to wanting to be with other people. And sometimes we also have needs in wanting to be alone. So all this, needs to be handled in a way that we no longer hang on to whatever we were conditioned with, or whatever, we think is the best way of doing this. Mindfulness, to be mindful about something means to open yourself up for a new perspective, to look at things from a more, kind and sort of forthcoming way, all right? But mindfulness, again, here there's a limitation to it, which is why I put this here into the mental category of next week's energies. Is not the same as gracefulness. See, gracefulness looks at the implementation of all of this. It means, how we actually bring all these things into the expression in our practical life. And to all of you here with a relentless critical inner voice that is tormenting you right now, and really look at these thoughts that are coming in, that are tormenting you, what they're expressing. They're not graceful, guys, and they're not based on the self-love or kindness. They're very unkind. It's very ungraceful, if such a word exists, okay, to energize those attitudes within ourselves, all right? Socially, in our relationships, then, of course, these kind of things can lead to quite a few relationship issues, especially in regards to boundaries. So this week is all about boundaries. It's all about this harmonizing, as I said earlier, your needs, their needs, your expression, their expression. All these things that have to do with, making sure that we can grow, that we claim our right to be here, that we claim our freedom to grow, but also giving it to the other, all right? So it's not just about being right or insisting that the way you see it or you like it is the only way. Here's where our specialness, our ego specialness always gets the best of us, where we think, that just because we've had an insight, or we are realizing how we want to live our lives, that we think everybody else needs to do that too. So speaking your truth in grace, all right, also entails sort of this larger perspective of, is this even, forthcoming? Is this conducive here right now at this very moment? Does this really need to be said? Does this have to be expressed right now? And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, and you need to feel this in your heart. Where this can come into like sort of an unhealthy expression, obviously in conjunction with our boundaries, is when we are in these toxic or codependent relationships, where we still keep hoping and keep trying that things will eventually work out, and if we only try harder, or if we only become better, or if the other would only change, all right, then things would be more loving, would be kinder, would be more conducive, would be higher vibe. But guys, I really need to remind you that sometimes, we're just not compatible with people. Okay, even if it's partners that we've been with for a while, sometimes our self-growth and our self-mastery no longer resonates with the energy field of the relationship. And hoping and wanting the other to change, those are all covert control mechanisms, all right? So don't fall for this, all right? If your partner isn't showing up in the same way, or the integrity level that you that you are showing up as and that you want in your life, okay, it comes down to what you choose. Do you really want to live this way? Okay, you can't really accuse a person of not being integrous enough for you. I mean, this is your problem. This is a boundary problem that you have. If you're with someone who doesn't treat you right, or who doesn't listen to you, doesn't heed any of your needs or desires, who sort of ignores some of the values and so forth that you put forth, or the boundaries that you set. I mean, come on. How much more evidence do you need, to recognize that this person is actually not interested in you, in the true self that you are? Gracefulness also includes the respect that we all still have to work on with ourselves, to give that to others. If somebody else is not willing to give that, guys, there is no way, to change that. It's not in your control. You really have to let go of that. If it's supposed to be, it will be. If it's not supposed to be, then there's no need to hang on to it. Okay? So here, I've pointed out, the problem with trying to want something from somebody who's not interested in giving it. At some point, you gotta just really be honest with yourself and say, you know what, it's just not good enough for me. Instead of continually sort of beating yourself up for, thinking that you're not good enough. All this, of course, assumes that you've already tried to express this in the most graceful way, all right? That you've communicated your needs and your desires. So sometimes you come to this place realizing that, oh my God, I've never even given my partner a chance, because I've, for whatever reason, expected maybe that he or she is a mind reader, or that they have the same goals as I have. And there it's very important to come to this place of clarity and say, hey, I really need to talk about something here. I'm not sure. I really want you to reflect something to me. From my perspective, these and these things are the ones that are important to me and that are really needed, for me to feel safe and to feel loved in our relationship. And I'm not sure if you are, looking for the same thing. So let us sit down and talk about these things that are important for us, and what we as a couple, or this can also of course be within the family setting, or even in a co-worker situation, what we as a team, what we strive for, and what these important goals, these mutual goals are that we have. So clarity, guys, is very, very important for relationships. I've said this in the November forecast, the December forecast. December is a huge test for your relationships, a reality check, but at the same time also a huge relief, and for some of your relationships, a wonderful opportunity to grow together. Spiritually, I'm feeling a lot of religious stuff coming in right now, so this can be the time of the year. But it also has something to do with this increased the third eye, sixth chakra activity that we've been going through these past 5, almost 6 months now. And we're getting to a place with this where some of these downloads that we are getting, this info that is coming in through the divine Wi-Fi, is starting to somehow kick in. We can't put the finger on it yet, right? We talked about this in the forecast, but it's something that triggers something in us, like a deeper meaning or a purpose. And I really need you to understand, guys, that going into spiritual specialness with this, or the spirit has told me I need to blah blah, is not where this where you can maintain higher vibratory gracefulness. All right, this has nothing to do with this. Gracefulness in the spiritual sense expresses through you going into this conscious commitment to yourself, to your higher self, the promise that you make to yourself to find the highest expression of who you are. And the mechanism, the spiritual mechanism or metaphysical mechanism that takes care of this is divine justice. All right, so, or karma, as many of you want to call this. All right, so if you are moving towards this harmony and congruence with your purpose, all right, and you'll feel that because life will feel, more harmonious altogether, all right. It's not that you will not encounter any challenges or anything; those will still be there, and you still have to deal with some of your ego aspects, obviously. But you will feel more like you know where you're going. It's the centipede that we mentioned here, also in the forecast, where you feel like you're getting pulled into your future self, all right? And that feels very harmonious from within. You do not need to control this. You do not need to hang on to this, all right? You guys are lucky here, or those are the heart warriors. We're going to go through the whole entire set 3 true future self transmissions here in the course of December. I'm really, really looking forward to this. This wonderful work for the end of the year, to tune into your own vision of this next year. And energetically, then last but not least, it's when I said earlier in regards to the physical, to tune in what is most natural for you. If you've lost a connection to that for whatever reason, then allow nature to show you your own divine nature, okay? Really work with, either plants or animals, or, go out in nature, commune with nature. All right, commune with nature, because the resonance of that will actually reconnect you with your own true nature. And if you want to practice this, we're going to be talking about this here within the Sacred Self-Healing community this week. How to tune into the elements, how to tune into spirit animals, how to tune into these energies, these natural energies, okay? Then maybe review step 13 of the Sacred Self-Healing course, or just do simple practices when you go out in nature, and tree hugging would be one of those. But you can also really practice, sort of becoming one with what it is that you are focusing on. You can do this with an animal, for instance, and really tune into the powers and the medicine that is in an animal. You can tune into a color, you can tune into a sound, into music. It doesn't matter what you use. I often use water, guys, to tune into, this energy of flow, okay? And at this point, I also want to remind everybody of the importance of water, of course, especially in regards to transformation and flexibility and all that. And letting go is, has a lot to do with water. But also the overall importance here, metaphysical importance of water as an information carrier. All right, if you want to really learn how to tune into things, you can do things such as blessing your food, blessing your water before you ingest it. You can also experiment with this, and you can, sort of take a water bottle and practice tuning into love, and really sending your love into this water in the bottle. Or you can practice letting go, or you can practice any of these higher vibratory healing resonances that you are familiar with, that you have reference feelings for, and energize water, and then drink it again, and sort of reinforce this whole sort of feedback loop with yourself, guys. There's so much as a conscious energy worker, as a conscious self-master, that you can use, to realign and to heal and to clear yourself. I just want to inspire you a little bit to go into this place here next week. It's a wonderful week for this. All right. Thank you guys so much for the support here of transCODES. with this video, you're going to receive the new calendar for December. It's a very exciting month. And I want to make an announcement real quick for you guys. I will do the 3-day detox around the winter solstice. So that's around the 19th, 20th, and 21st of December. That's a free community event for everybody. So you don't have to let me know. You just show up and I'll send you all the links. But then for the last 10 days of the year after the winter solstice, I'm offering a free So Spiritual 10-day challenge, something that some of you Patreon supporters received as your first anniversary gift from me. I'm going to do this again, but this time, due to the amount of people that want to participate, which I have to reduce this because I can't handle that many people, I'm going to send out a application link, all right, and then announce to people that are in the 10-day challenge. All right, just as a reminder, the 10-day challenge can always be booked throughout the entire year. As an individual, you can always do this with me, but in this group setting, we only do this once or twice a year. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week and talk to you next Sunday. Bye-bye.